My wife and I spent a few months in Spain, checking it out as a potential place for us to live in the future. In this video, I'm going to share what we learned about living in Spain, the benefits to living here, and the downsides as well. My name is Ryan, my wife Emily and I are the Snail Travelers. Daily siestas. I love to take afternoon naps whenever I can, and so does Spain. In fact, many businesses close in the middle of the day, and sometimes certain areas will actually look abandoned because most of the people are having their siesta time. Now, this can be a con sometimes as well. If we want to go to a pharmacy in the afternoon, well, we might need to wait until early evening for it to reopen. But I still think it's worth that minor inconvenience, and the larger banks and grocery stores do stay open. Napping is one of the few things I'm good at in life, and I want to take advantage of that, and Spain is perfect for my napping addiction. And it's not just about the actual nap itself. It's really, to me, more about the idea that work isn't everything here in Spain. Emily used to work 12, sometimes 13, or even 14-hour shifts when she was a nurse. In Spain, there isn't as much of a workaholic culture, and I really do think that makes the people here feel happier and less stressed. The friendly people. This kind of goes along with what I just said about the people here being happier and less stressed. Almost everyone we interacted with here in Spain was in an upbeat mood and very friendly. The people here will go out of their way to help you out if you have any problems. And in my opinion, this reason alone could be reason enough to live in Spain. The language barrier. According to Wikipedia, about 22% of Spaniards speak English, and that sounds about right to us. And since many people don't speak English, you would be better off learning some Spanish if you come to live here. You don't have to be fluent, basic Spanish will suffice. And like I said earlier, the people are so friendly here, and that makes it a little less intimidating to communicate. Safety. We don't think safety is something to worry about in Spain. Yes, there is some crime here, especially in tourist areas like Barcelona, but the crime is more theft and rarely violent. That sounds good enough to me, and that is why I am giving the safety here a pro rating, especially when compared to some other places we've been to in the world. The food. I'm not going to tell you about specific Spanish dishes because I already did that in our previous videos about Spain that you can watch after you finish watching this video. The food here is indeed fantastic, no matter which area of Spain you decide to live in. One of the best things about the food here in Spain, at least compared to the US, is that the food here tends to be a little bit more fresh. You can still find frozen foods and processed foods, but it's not consumed as often here. And, this is important, if you're living here, not just visiting for vacation, you aren't going to be eating out all of the time, because the food in restaurants isn't always going to be healthy. You'll be making a lot of your own food at home, and it's nice to know that healthy food at the grocery store is readily available. And the produce is so fresh, and it has so much flavor. For example, take the flavor of an orange in the US and multiply it by 3, and then you'll know what it's like to eat an orange here in Spain. And something else you should know is not about the food itself, but when it is eaten. Dinner here in Spain typically is around 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening, and that could take a little getting used to. Overall, we think the food here in Spain is great. In fact, it is so good that it has earned UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage status. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it sounds impressive, doesn't it? Just be careful not to overdo it with the food here because the temptation will be huge. Summer crowds. We personally are happy with our decision to come to Spain in the winter. The crowds of tourists are lower this time of year and everything feels pretty relaxed. But I have to say that the atmosphere here does change a lot in the summer, and this is especially true in the Spanish expat hotspots along the coast, such as Barcelona, Valencia, Alicante, and Malaga. So this is something to be aware of, something to be prepared for, but we personally wouldn't let this one factor alone determine our decision whether or not to live in Spain. The beaches. The beaches here are indeed beautiful, some of the best we've seen in Europe. The thing we like about the beaches is that many of them are sandy with fewer rocks mixed in with the sand. There are a few areas of the beach that are rocky, but overall it's more sand and less rocks. Now, the water here is not quite as crystal clear when compared to other parts of the Mediterranean, but the beaches here are indeed one of the pros to living or retiring in Spain. The cost of living. The prices here can be either a pro or a con, depending on where you are coming from. If you are coming from the UK, US, Canada, or a country with a similar cost of living, then you will most likely find that Spain is generally going to be a bit less expensive for you. We are Americans, but we are actually living in Turkey right now, and for us, Spain is a little bit more expensive. I made an entire video about our spending here in Spain, where I go over the specific prices for housing, food, transportation, etc. You should check it out if you want to see the specific numbers. But overall, based on our personal experience here in Spain, we estimate the cost of living to be about 70% of what it is in the United States for a similar level of comfort. So if you spend, let's say, $4,000 per month in the US, think something around $2,800 for your budget here in Spain, but that's just a rough estimate. One thing you need to consider about living in Spain permanently is what you will pay in taxes living here. Now, remember that list I showed you of things that I'm good at? Well, giving tax advice was not on that list. But it is something that you need to research because it could significantly increase or decrease your cost of living here depending on your situation. But as I mentioned in our cost of living video, the prices and our spending here in Spain surprised us in a positive way, and the cost of living is, in our opinion, quite reasonable. Immigration. First off, if you are an EU citizen, then of course you can move here without needing to deal with any complicated immigration requirements. Otherwise, for a couple to qualify for Spain's retirement visa, proof of about $3,200 per month is required at the moment, although this does change, so you'll want to double check. For us personally, this income requirement is too high, so that is why I'm giving immigration a con rating. But it is also possible to qualify with a large savings instead of a monthly income, so for some people, this could clear the way to come live here in Spain. You'll also be required to spend at least 183 days per year in Spain to maintain residency. Getting around. Getting around within cities as well as between cities in Spain is easy peasy if you ask me. Within the big cities like Barcelona and Madrid, there is an extensive underground metro system, and even in mid-sized cities like Valencia and Granada, you will find the public transportation to be quite adequate as well. Getting between cities is also quite easy, with Spain's extensive rail system providing frequent and fast train travel. The downside to the train system is getting between cities along the coast. For example, you won't find a train that connects Valencia and Sevilla without having to go through Madrid. But there are buses between cities as well, used very frequently by us, and we think the buses are plenty comfortable for getting around the country. Healthcare. Affordable and quality healthcare is another positive feature of living here. Healthcare in Spain is continuously ranked as being some of the best in the world. In fact, we know people who have come to live here specifically for that reason. So if you're concerned about that, don't be. You will be able to get the medical attention that you need here in Spain. So there you have it, my friends. You saw a lot more of those pro icons than you did the con icons in the video, didn't you? We think overall, Spain is a terrific place for people to consider for living long term. And yeah, we might even be one of those people sometime in the future because we think it would be a great place to live. Here is our playlist with pro and con videos from several other countries around the world. Here is our previous video from Barcelona. I'm so excited about our next destination. I'll put it down here when it's ready, and also tap that subscribe button. Thanks for traveling with us.